here today to show love and support for Destiny 2. Not only have we sensed our own personal feelings of loss over Destiny 2's passing, but our hearts have been drawn toward the game. And we will continue to be with it. Praise the Lord. Destiny's dead. Woo! Here's my account. You can have it. Rest in peace, bozo. You won't be missed. Party at my place, bitches. Woo! Don't worry, people. Don't worry. The Lord giveth and the Lord taketh away. But you know what? You know what? Don't worry. They always come back. Daddy Pete always makes sure they come back. Now let's get this party started.
Another one. Why you all in my ear talking up?
Woohoo! Yeah, buddy. Sorry, ladies and gentlemen, I'm a little late with this brutally honest review for update 9.0.0.1. Sorry. As you can see, I've been busy farming the mines. That's right. No, I'm not talking about Minecraft, even though playing Minecraft would probably be far more rewarding than whatever the fuck Bungie thought the portal was going to be. That's right. Now, I'm going to go off script just a little bit. This intro is just a little off script. And I gotta be brutally honest before we jump into the script. There's going to be so much random shit that Bungie is putting out. There's so many twids. This review is going to cover most of everything at launch, mostly because it encapsulates everything that Bungie did wrong and showcases everything that Bungie should have known better based on the, 10 years we've had for Destiny. So yes, we're going to jump in. I just want you to know that I might miss some patch notes. I might miss, well, they're doing this and this. I don't give a fuck. This is my review, and I'm reviewing it based on mostly the stuff that came out at fucking launch. So let's get into it, shall we? This update could only be explained in one way: the attempted murder of a franchise. That's right. This was an attempted murder. You saw it live. I saw it live. You know who didn't get to see it live was consoles. PlayStation, Xbox just couldn't get into the game. More on that later. In the wise words of a very angry man, you done fucked it up. 9.0.0.1. By the way, I'm just going to emphasize, I'm going to say update 9.01 just to save me some time, because I don't want to keep saying 9.0.0.1. That's just too much. So we're going to say update 9.0. Just let's keep it casual. This update was released, and it's Bungie's attempt at making Destiny 3 in Destiny 2 a reset without actually being, a fucking reset. These changes attempted to shake up Destiny, which in a way it definitely did shake up things. It definitely shook those player numbers. That's for sure. But it didn't shake up things the way that Bungie wanted to shake. Bungie attempted to make Destiny 2 more into an MMO while also hindering its ability to actually be an MMO. Making a game that tries to look like a free-to-play game into actually more of a free-to-play game. Unironically, they succeeded at that. Don't get me wrong, there were some good changes that needed to happen. And when I tell you, I think this has to be one of the worst updates in Destiny history, I mean it. Even with the positives, this has got to be one of the worst updates that Bungie has ever done in Destiny history. I mean, we've gotten to the point where people would rather go back to Destiny 2 launch than deal with this. And I'm not making that up. There was literally a push for people comparing this to Destiny 2 launch. And I by the way, I don't subscribe to that. This is going off script, because now I'm thinking about it. That shit's crazy. That you have no. No, it's bad, but it ain't that bad. You're insane if you think this is as bad as fucking Destiny 2 Year 1 launch. You're insane. Welcome to my brutally honest review of the systematic changes in Destiny 2, or Update 9.0, as we will call it. Now, let's get something straight. This is not Edge of Fate. I hate content creators and journalists, and even Bungie themselves, advertising the systematic changes like the portal as part of Edge of Fate. I will never understand how people gaslight into thinking that anything free is part of the pay product or is being measured by the pay product. Hell, 90% of Bungie devs showcased the free bullshit for their dev reveal. This review targets all the systematic changes that came as its own package. That's right. I want you to know, we here at the counselor's office is all about fairness. We review this shit fairly. We don't look at everything in one bundle. We looked at the paid shit for the paid shit. We look at the free shit for the free shit, and we base the merits on that. It is incredibly insane how people bundle shit together, because I guess that makes it look like there's more content than there really is. Granted, Edge of Fate sucks ass on its own. It didn't need help with the systematic changes also sucking ass. It alone will suck ass on its own. So, but I just want to make it very clear. I'm going off script. I'm rambling a little bit. I want you to make it very clear. People who think that this is bundled together, you're fucking stupid. Let's look at this objectively for what it is. It's a free update. And yeah, but that doesn't mean just because it's free from criticism, as you will see. PvP, let's start off. Let's roll into it, shall we? Let's roll right into PvP. We're starting PvP. Don't worry, PvPers. Bungie may have forgotten about you, but I haven't. That's right. Daddy Counselor has not forgot about the PvPers, and that's why I'm putting you first. Bungie won't, but I will, baby. Let's talk about it. Yes, technically PvP is changed per update for the season, and they changed the metas and yada yada, although that's an argument on its own. Anyone who plays PvP will be like, yeah, are you sure about that? Do they really update per season? Do they actually do mid-season updates? Are you sure about that? Listen, technically they do change per season and mid-season update. Whether it's a good change, meta shift, that's a different question. So let's talk about it. I feel the situation for PvP is worse this time around. Like, this update has drastically kicked every PvPer's nuts. Literally just drived it right up their balls. See, Bungie made a lot of new changes to the system. Instead of preemptively balancing and making changes for PvP, specifically, PvPers were told, yeah, go fuck yourselves. Bungie essentially said they were going to let things ride before they changed anything. And now we have seen some of the shittiest metas I have ever seen. I'm not a PvP main, but I can even tell you this shit stinks. Outside of Graviton Spike, which is an Edge of Fate exclusive exotic, most of PvP is just hunters using fucking throwing knives and spamming it in your face constantly before two people tap you because of the weapon stat was so strong in PvP, until Bungie kind of balanced it out. So now it's not as insane anymore. That's just hunters, by the way. Titans are just insta-killing with shoulder charge. Warlocks are spamming grenades and rifts. Like, if you thought ability spam was fucking annoying, we have transcended to literal hell. Not only that, but Bungie has not introduced any new modes. Sure, heavy metal is a thing, but that was pre-update 9.0. We also did not get any new PvP maps. Also, rewards kind of suck ass. If you lose, you get shit rewards, whereas if you were lost pre-update 9.0, you could get drops of weapons that actually matter. And yes, I know if you are power 450, you're guaranteed tier 5 loot. But if you aren't max level, you aren't max crucible rank, and you don't get high score, you don't fucking get good shit. You're just fucked. Sure, Bungie made changes, and we'll probably make more changes in the future, but dude, you should be able to earn decent loot just by playing the fucking game. Seriously, at this point, if you don't have 450 and you're not like max crucible rank, and a game is losing, just fucking dip, man. It's not worth your time. If you're specifically going for loot, fucking leave a losing game. That's how shitty the Crucible is. That at least if you used to lose, you got good loot. Now, if you're losing, there's no reason to stick around. There's just none. Just peace, bye, I'm out. See ya, Felicia. You aren't getting the best possible loot, especially if you're a below average PvPer. You're getting shit, so just leave a bad game. I also know there's a hate war between PvE and PvP players, and even though I'm just an average PvP player, I can still feel for you PvP players, especially those crazy enough to suffer through this meta, including Trials, but Trials is paid. Mine hat is off to you. You deserve better. At this point, I feel like PvP is going the route of Gambits. Just bam, take it out back, I guess is what Bungie's thinking. All right, moving on to soft sunsetting. Yeah, these are all killing Destiny. The real shit. Let's talk about the downfall of Destiny, shall we? Bungie learned their lesson with the DCV, the massive vaulting of paid content, even though they still sunset and vault seasonal content that you paid for. They just don't remove dungeon content or expansions anymore. But Bungie had the genius idea that they could avoid constantly trying to update the world of Destiny by simply acting like it didn't fucking exist. The portal was the start of this process. Instead of opening up a world that you would explore and hang out with your friends, they decided to make it more like Fortnite and you're opening a menu. Or even worse, like a gacha game. Well, I've seen that before. But specifically, the soul of Destiny has always been the legacy content that leads the entire story. Well, with Edge of Fate, Bungie apparently wanted to cut ties with old stuff. So they abandoned 90% of it and did not bring in anything to the portal, making most rewards pointless. All armor is fucking pointless. All of it. There's not a single thing outside of the portal that is of value. You're wasting your fucking time unless you're trying to get for like transmog, but outside of that, it's fucking useless. Sure, exotics will always be good. We'll get to that in a minute, especially armor-wise. But overall, there's no reason to really farm any loot because Bungie is just going to make a tiered version of that version. Like Fatebringer 3.0, except it's going to be called the Fate Dingler, and it's going to have the same look, but it's just going to have better perks. You won't even need to touch Vault of Glass anymore. Just to the portal, and you'll get a better version of everything at some point. What is funny is that when people load up the game at launch with the update 9.0.01, I know I'm just saying it for the fun of it, the destination tab, the world tab, was completely grayed out. Bungie's excuse for this change was because during playtesting, people were getting confused with the difference. I'm sorry, I can't read this. Sorry, let's get back on script. People are getting confused with the difference between the portal and the world destination tab, which first off is funny that the whole point of the portal was to help new people and returning people enter the game. But if people were already confused before release, doesn't that show that the portal was already a fucking failure? But what is even funnier is that Bungie's response to that feedback of confusion was to simply turn the lights off. Just act like you don't see anything. Wax on, wax off. You see nothing. It's just all part of your imagination. You see nothing. That's right. No, there is nothing. These are not the planets you are looking for. You're looking for Kepler. You do not need to look at the moon anymore. I cannot believe the solution, or that Bungie willingly announced that for the community to see. The problem was the two different tabs. The solution, just make the color gloomy. Seems dead inside. Maybe they'll stay away from it. That'll keep people away. I think that perfectly highlights how incompetent Bungie is as a developer nowadays. Instead of writing an explanation somewhere that just tells people the difference of each tab, they just dim the lights. Forget making a tab in the portal itself that allows quick access to legacy content. We're just gonna act like the world doesn't fucking exist.
We're good at our jobs.
Setting without actually removing the content from the game is instead Bungie's trying to hide 90% of the game in the closet, hoping you'll only focus on the portal. That's right, instead of playing how you want to play, Bungie says, nah, you'll play what we want to play and how we want to play it.
I am altering the deal. Pray I don't alter it any further.
The tier system. See, before armor and weapons were separated into two categories, standard editions and artifice/adept versions of armor weapons, these made a system where armor became pointless. But I believe weapons themselves were in an okay place. We also had crafting, which is a divisive issue among the community. You had casuals and a few veterans who loved it. Then you had diehard veterans who hated it. With the release of update 9.0, crafting has essentially been removed from the game. Sure, you can craft exotics like, woo! We're really making the crafties excited out here, ladies and gentlemen. I think there's more crafting in Minecraft than there is Destiny now. Woo! Doesn't that get you going? You get a little stiffy down there. I do love the idea of chasing tier 5s, and I want to be very honest. I actually really do. Like it's really exciting. I don't think tier 5s are breaking the game. They're not a must-have. Maybe outside of PvP, like PvP, you probably do care more about tier 5s, that you want to squeeze out every extra advantage that you can get. But overall, just like Adepts, you don't need them to play 99% of the game. 1% is the day one contest where it might matter, having some tier 5 weapons being necessary. But let's be honest, we see let's be real honest. Day ones, I don't know if they're going to continue to make these contests like regrettably hard. Then I don't see people giving a shit. But that's the paid content. That's for a different review. We're talking about the free shit. There's currently nothing in here that you need to overtop yourself desperately to get tier 5s. There's not even raids. We'll get to that in a minute too. But let's be honest, we see a tier 5. We want that tier 5. Shiny holofoil gets that cool kill effect, and you get 3 perks on both columns. Juicy goodness that you don't want to miss out on. I do think this is good for the game, having variance of value. However, I feel like tier 1 and tier 2 should not fucking exist. I think all guns should just start at tier 3 because we all know not a damn person will want to keep a tier 1 or a tier 2 weapon. Might as well use a green or blue gun at that point. See, at tier 3, we essentially get crafted weapons, which is great, but you got to power level 300 to be able to farm tier 3s. When I think you should be able to get tier 3s at base, so anyone who plays at any speed or at level can at least earn some loot that isn't fucking useless. Bungie made all these changes to be new player friendly, but someone who is new or casual who isn't min-maxing or speed running power levels won't get to 300 for some time, making most gear useless. Armor tiering is noticeable with tier 1 through 3, but once you get 3, 4, and 5, they're not necessarily as big. Don't get me wrong, I still mid-max with tier 4s, and I'll use whatever tier 5s I can get, but you can essentially make good builds with tier 3s, which is essentially what we had pre-update 9.0. Overall, I'm liking the tiers themselves. I do think Bungie could clean up how to access these tiers, especially tier 3s. I think 1s and 2s are a waste of anyone's time, which makes early build crafting pointless, which defeats the whole purpose of all the changes in the fucking first place. Now, let's talk about the stat changes brought with 9.0.01. I'm going to be bluntly honest. I love them. I love that we no longer have resilience. I love that we have a stat that makes super actually fucking matter. I'm not too much of a fan of the health stat, as it seems to be mostly a PvP stat that is coveted. I have a massive issue with how limiting stat combinations are, though. Like, let's talk about that. It makes no sense to create a wide range to encourage build crafting, yet you still fucking limit the build crafting with pointless combinations. For example, you can't roll armor with weapons and super unless you're lucky with RNG, but you won't get that high stat bump that you could specifically back to pre-update 9.0, what we call now our illegal rolls. Like we smuggled in a bunch of foreigners into Destiny 2. They're all illegal. Why? Why half-ass the system? Bungie, you has a nasty habit of pushing out half-baked updates, changes that aren't fully developed instead of taking the time to cook. Like it's like, have you ever played RuneScape? Because that's exactly what's happening with Destiny. Your cooking skills, Bungie, is fucking shit. You need to get that stat to 99 because right now it's like level 3.
Because we're good at our jobs. It's true.
Fundamental levels. The idea of changing stats was a fantastic and necessary idea. Resilience was a must-have for both PvE and PvP. If you did not max out resilience, you were handicapping yourself in every mode in the game. Intellect was a dead stat for PvE and was used only in PvP to get your well or bubble quickly. The only fairly balanced stats were discipline and strength. Mobility was pointless on any class except for hunters or for the speed running community. Recovery was great for PvP, but outside of Warlock, no one cared about it in PvE. Now, we have health, which is great for PvP. Weapons, which is, you know, it's great, honestly, but like class makes more sense than mobility, I guess, and recovery and resilience being attached to class. Melee, grenade, and super. Each one gives a boost to generation at 100, right? You get a boost at your generation of all these abilities, plus a few extras, but at 200, you get more bonuses, such as melee, for example. You get to do more damage, which is pretty dope, honestly. More damage is always good damage. And you get to choose what you value more, extra damage on grenade or having a faster super generation. You can't get 200 on every stat. You can almost get 100 in each stat, which is pretty freaking cool. However, there's one glaring problem outside of the lack of combinations. Bungie released this system not even working. Even now, the class stat isn't even fucking working correctly. The health stat was bugged and getting people killed. Melee, grenade, super were not working and providing energy at the appropriate rate that Bungie had advertised. Bungie was supposed to bake in the mobility stat into all Guardians, yet it was tested and found out that the Guardians were at a 0 mobility rate and were slower than pre-Edge of Fate. Funny how we had a go fast update years ago. Now we have a go fucking slow update. Oh, resilience. Resilience was removed, and no one at Bungie had the genius idea to remember that both Bubble, Well of Radiance, were both attached to that specific stat. Instead of attaching them to another stat or addressing them directly, Bungie forgot, so they essentially have 0 resilience, so they just die after a boss just sneezes on them. Oh, there's a bubble? Oh, it's gone.
Because we're good at our jobs. It's true.
There's a few bugs. And then there's releasing a brand new update, applying new changes and breaking the entire fucking game. Don't worry, we'll get to that soon enough. While it doesn't actually fit the stat changes section, it is worth noting that along with some of the updates Bungie made to quality of life, Bungie also updated perks with an enhanced perk description, even though some of those descriptors are so fucking vague and don't even give a percentage or number of what they actually do. It's crazy how a free-to-play mobile game, Destiny Rising, will verbatim tell you each perk and how much damage, percentage / time they'll last, and it'll tell you everything about that perk while looking at the game. But Bungie tries to justify the lack of description for everything in the game as a way to give players mystery and surprise. When a mobile game does a better job explaining Destiny than the creators of Destiny, you know the studio is fucking cooked. But guys, You love secrets, right? It's a secret. You'll find out eventually, right? You love it, don't you? No, we fucking don't.
Sand. My boss just told me, like, hey, keep it a secret. So I'm gonna keep it below 50. It's a secret. Enjoy. You know what, man? Whatever. Y'all weird. I'm gonna go play some Borderlands 4.
We talked about tiers and stats. Now we have to talk about Armor 3.0. Bungie released new armor, which gives you all available energy up front, where you used to have to masterwork armor in order to get the full mod energy. Now, you don't have to invest masterworking, which is a great change. Let me get it wrong. It's phenomenal change. Bungie, that was something that we needed. The fact that you don't have to waste resources as you're using armor, you can just use the armor as is, fantastic. It does suck if you get a shitty roll though, like obviously the 5 stats, the 15 stats are all in the stats that you don't have. So if you have super weapon class, that means your every other stat will get a +5, which kind of suck. Like I would rather have the choice to choose where those +5 go, but it is what it is. Bungie also introduced new stat mods and even lowered previous stats to stat mods to allow for more build crafting. Amazing. In fact, they introduced new font mods that allow you to build into charges of light and boost your build crafting even farther. So you can choose to use Emma mods, or you can instead throw on a super font to boost your super stat further. This is great. I love it. Build crafting felt dead. Now, I give a shit about the stats. I do. I give a shit when they are working, of course. When they're working. That's a good point right there. When they're working, Chief. They are currently all over the place. They should be working. I don't know. We know class stats not working. Give it a month. We'll have the Destiny nerds who are testing everything. They might find out that something else is broken, or if the update of Ash and Iron breaks things, we'll find out soon enough. But give it a month. Knowing Bungie, they'll break something for sure. Overall, Armor 3.0 does provide more build crafting and does bring excitement back to Armor that it was desperately needed. However, we have to talk about exotic armor. Whose fucking idea was it to ship a massive armor overhaul and not include exotic armor? The literal pinnacle of armor in Destiny, and it has always been the pinnacle of Destiny. Bungie and a blog had revealed that they currently had no plans to allow higher stat gear into Destiny after this update for specifically exotics. It would take about a year. That's right, a year to figure out how to get high statted exotic armor. Armor went from being able to roll from tier 2 to 3 at base to at as high as tier 4 if you were super lucky. But for some reason, Bungie has chosen to make all future exotic drops at tier 2, not tier 3, which is the base of legendary pre-Edge of Fate, right? That's the base for all legendary armor. The moment you get a tier 3 legendary armor, you already have a better piece than the exotic in the game, which makes no fucking sense and is inexcusable. To force feed the game with this update and half-ass it, the pinnacle armor of the game, and they don't have a fucking plan. Assholes. You get to choose at which stat it drops. You can choose to make it drop at tier 3. You chose to be a fucking asshole and make it drop at a tier 2. It's not like, oh, gee willikers, man, I wish we just knew how to solve this problem. The community wants higher stat gear. Man, if there was a way we could figure this out. I don't know. Make it drop at what it was at base, you dumb fucks.
Because we're good at our jobs. It's true.
Now, last for armor, the last section, we have set perks. This excited me, mostly because it's similar to Diablo, and I love Diablo set perks. However, unlike Diablo, that has some pretty strong set bonuses, Destiny 2 sets are pretty forgettable. don't get me wrong, there are some interesting ones, and the raid set bonus, even though it's part of the paid product, has a noticeable bonus. But overall, especially the free armor, it's nothing too exciting or overly powerful. You could choose to focus on stats over the set bonuses and you'd be okay. I don't think there is anything that is a must-have. Think of set bonuses of, you know, as a nice little cherry on top. But it's not necessary, which is both good and bad. It's good because you don't feel like you have to use shittier stats to get the bonuses. But at the same time, I kind of want those crazy bonus sets. I kind of want to go nuts like I do in Diablo, where you get some wild builds with it. But overall, I do think it's nice that you can choose to build into one or the other and get some extra spicy bonuses to mix up your build, even if it's just a little bit. So overall, I think this is a W. I do think Bungie should continue to explore making stronger sets. I think, in fact, I would be okay if they made set bonuses powerful and then rolled them back. When's the last time we had a legendary armor piece that was breaking the game? That wasn't some kind of legal role from like a bygone age of something that was supposed to disappear and it didn't. Like, it's been a long time since we had legendary armor break games. So let's do it. Guardian ranks. We got to talk about this. The one thing that I hate the fucking most, Guardian ranks. We're going to talk about the changes Bungie has made towards the game, especially in regard to the new player experience that Bungie likes to say these changes are meant to be for, but they're fucking not. But let's talk about Guardian ranks. Guardian ranks were pointless when they were introduced. Now they're still pointless, but are required to push the weird power progression where it matters in certain activities like events where you can't get higher tier gear loot unless you are a certain Guardian rank. Not to mention that Guardian ranks are a horrible tutorial, even more so now that we have the portal, which already has a training mode, which we'll talk about later. Guardian ranks are nothing more than busy work disguised as a helpful tutorial. It's one thing if you could prestige every season like Call of Duty so you can showcase cool icons showing how much you've prestiged. But no, another half-ass system that is just eating developer time just to be busy work for players and substitute for actual content with substance. Kind of like your teacher sending homework home, but the homework is easy and it's just there to keep you busy. Like, Seasonal Hub. Let's talk about it. The Seasonal Hub and Pathfinder. Just last year, Bungie introduced a massive quality of life change in the form of Pathfinder, something that came as a free update along with the release of the final shape, which had its own Pathfinder as well in the Pale Heart. Pathfinder was Bungie's answer to Pinnacle farming and Bright Dust farming. Previously, you had to do bounties for Gambit, Crucible, and Strikes, and in order to get Pinnacles to drop to level up. Pathfinder was a welcome change as it gave the player freedom to choose which activity they wanted to play. And it unlocked the power drops, whatever activity you desire to play, boom, you got them. Sure, there was a few challenges that Bungie needed to touch up on. Overall, the system worked. You also could keep farming for Bright Dust. With the portal, Bungie has completely removed the Pathfinder, which they never addressed at all beforehand in any dev stream nor any blog. They didn't mention it in any video or any tweet. It's just very obvious that they didn't want to bring attention to that change. Now, the Seasonal Hub is the new stop shop for all players. I will say right now, I do like the Seasonal Hub. I do. I really do like it. It's not that challenging. And you do get a lot more stuff out of having a mini pass each week. It does feel like you're getting less Bright Dust overall versus farming the Pathfinder. But for someone like me who never really took the time to farm out that Bright Dust, the fact that the Seasonal Hub gives you a stack of it each week for a little effort is it's kind of nice. Not gonna lie. However, what was the point? Why waste developer time creating a quality of life change only to throw it out the window? Why not keep both? The Pathfinder, the Seasonal Hub, that provides more loot sources and give players another thing to do for the week. This is how you increase retention. Provide something of actual value and people will do it. In this case, we're talking about extra power and bright dust. Now, Bungie did come out and say they recognize the need to have more bright dust sources, which is nice, but after all these years, there is no excuse for these terrible fucking decisions. I'm not going to applaud Bungie for making a change to something that they knew was going to be a problem. I will applaud them, however, for the seasonal hub. It's a great experience, for free, and you can get it all done in a single play session with really no effort. However, I still think Pathfinder should have never been gutted. Rest in peace. While we're talking about quality of life changes and wasting dev resources, let's talk about vendor reputation. Once upon a time, Bungie required us to use tokens for reputation. It was a fucking shitty system. However, fast forward to Witch Queen, and Bungie went back to a Destiny 1 style approach with vendor reputation. This overhaul was received very well. Then Bungie proceeded to rework the tower vendors like Savala, Shax, Banshee, Drifter, Saint 14, Lord Saladin. Hell, they even gave Master Raoul his own reward track. This was one of the best quality of life changes Bungie has ever made. Because not only did they make a change that allowed veterans to benefit, but they also made a perfect way for new players, returning players, and free-to-play players to gain both end-game resources, but also allow them to get their hands on loot pretty fairly. You had to put work into unlocking those engrams and the reward track, but it actually rewarded the time you spent playing the game. There were so many resources of engrams that new players could get access to some really good open world weapons, or nightfall weapons, or even PvP weapons. Especially nightfall weapons. Even in the final shape, the world drops were getting pretty spicy, allowing new players to get some competitive options to start the game. Now with update 9.0, all that amazing quality of life changes that people loved and praised and said, yes, Bungie, we love this. Bungie took it like a pile of shit and flushed it down the toilet. We're listening to you guys.
Because we're good at our jobs. It's true.
We're listening. Listen, I understand Bungie removing engrams because some of it is not tier, it's because it's not tier of it. None of it is going to be tier loot. Though I don't know how hard it would have been just to convert the world drops into gear like a tier 2 or tier 1 weapon and just keep them at that level at all times. But hell, even a new player may still play with those weapons regardless. This change to essentially abandon and remove some of the best free-to-play changes in the game is so dumbfounding to me. Bungie spent a lot of time working on these reward tracks over multiple seasons, only to throw and waste that developer time.
And makes a lot of the characters and vendors in the game feel completely useless. Here's Hawthorne, one of the last remaining reputation systems in the game. We have engrams you can earn at the top, a reward track you can use to get some extra rewards, and some bounties. This gives character to each character. There's a reason I come to the tower and I click on these characters and I interact with them so I can claim certain rewards. It's a response to the time I invest in certain activities. I could spend a bunch of hours in the Crucible, a bunch of hours in the Vanguard playlist, a bunch of hours in Gambit, and by doing so I would earn reputation at these characters and I could go there and gain some extra rewards. And when I would prestige and reset these ranks, I would get extra perks on my weapons. And through this system, you are directly rewarded for your time investment. It's easier to get these god rolls of these weapons because you spend time in this system. You spend time in the systems of the game so that you can make your grind a little bit easier. In the Vanguard and Crucible and Gambit reputation, you could earn a seasonal weapon. One of these guns that had unique perk combinations that you wouldn't really see on other guns. It would be a good way for new players to earn some pretty decent loot. And you could also, upon resetting your rank, get a cool skin for it, right? And now the system is removed and has been replaced with nothing.
What is the point of doing anything if you're just gonna throw it in the fucking trash? It's like the explore mode for dungeons. Why make it if you're not going to keep it around for the new players or casual players? Now the tower feels barren and pointless. I don't actively care for any of the vendors, by the way. I just want you to know, I don't give a shit. It's a fucking ghost town. I see dead people. Let's talk about our old friend. That's right, we're talking about dead people, Xur. Xur was one of the most pointless vendors we've ever had, unless you were a new or returning player, or you were a veteran farming the exotic class items. But at least Xur did have some uses. Xur is now fucking useless to new players. There is so much shit stuffed into Xur's asshole that he doesn't even know what's going to come out. Bungie removed not only competitive weapons from Shaxx, they removed Trials weapons, they removed Nightfall weapons, hell, they removed Onslaught weapons, which are some of the best weapons in the game, especially for new and returning players to jump into the game. They removed all these farmable options and shoved them right up Xur's asshole, which puts the middle finger to everyone, including veterans. Many PvP players wanted to farm comp weapons, but now have to pray to RNG that it randomly drops over the hundreds of guns in Xur's asshole, or hope that he brings a good roll in the preset stock of weapons each week. Let's see if he's being generous. There's currently now no fucking way of farming any of the gear that Xur has. Not only that, but Bungie shoved all seasonal gear in Xur, which means if you're trying to catch up or play for the first time and you want any of the craftable weapons, you are F-U-C-K-E-D. You are capital fucked. Welcome to Fucktown. It's you and Xur, baby. Hit that lube, because Bungie's gonna stick a finger up your butthole. Because not only do you gotta hope that you get the gun you want to drop, but it has to be a red border. That's right, double RNG. We love that. But hey, that works for Bungie. They don't care about your experience. They only care that you swipe that credit card and buy their shit and load up their player metrics. Hell yeah. Let's go, baby. We're mining the credit card.
Hot diggity dog. This place is magnificent. An embarrassment of riches, as they say.
Talk about mining currency. Let's move on to currency. Bungie continues to remove resources of Glimmer, making it harder and harder to get. Glimmer has become an important process at the start of a new player or returning player's journey, which is funny because the biggest reason for all these supposed changes was for the new player experience. In all realness, decreasing the methods of gaining access to resources has made the new player experience increasingly tedious. The reward tracks for vendors allowed a dedicated avenue for players to gain access to material and currency to allow them to move forward in their journey. There is simply no longer any dedicated, easy to get sources where you consistently farm at a fair rate. Glimmer, do public events. Oh, you mean those activities that aren't in the portal and reward nothing else of actual value except like Red War stuff? Any loot you do get is pointless, trash, garbage, so why the fuck waste your time farming Glimmer on an activity that is fucking bad? What about Ascendant Shards? Well, if you're lucky, at higher levels of the portal, you can get them to drop, but at lower levels, good fucking luck, kiddo. What about Ascendant Alloys? Bungie essentially abandoned crafting, so getting access to Ascendant Alloys are even harder now that vendor tracks are gone. Sure, you could trade resources at Raoul, but it requires a crap ton of other resources that you need to have. And you need a shit ton of Glimmer, which causes this vicious circle for new players and casual players and even fucking veterans who are build crafting a lot, right? That's right, even veterans run out of materials because we're actually investing in build crafting and masterworking gear for maximum stats. Bungie has made getting currency more of a fucking grind because they want to milk the retention metrics for as much as they can. It's funny, I've got over 1 million Glimmer and Destiny fucking Rising, but Bungie continues to bottle cap Glimmer at 500k. That's crazy that a gacha game is more rewarding for resources when they want you to actually spend money for said resources. it doesn't make it make sense. Make it make sense. Why is a mobile game more rewarding than the fucking game? They want to milk the retention metrics for as much as they can, making some of the worst changes in the quality of life. Just making it worse. Quality of life is just worse now, especially compared to actual MMOs, which are generally more fair with the currency. But let's not forget unstable cores, Bungie's newest, hottest seasonal currency. Man, it's almost like I've seen this currency before. It's uncapped. You need it to infuse gear, and everyone fucking needs it. All right, because it's fucking legendary shards. You know, that currency that was supposedly replaced by Glimmer as the everything resource, but you know, it's funny because Bungie removed legendary shards because the excuse was it wasn't fair toward new and casual players because veterans had stockpiles of it, while the new and casual players struggled to access a meaningful amount of shards to participate. Which, by the way, it's a bunch of bullshit. Bungie has always loved using the excuse or of saying something economy in the game, acting like it's a shared economy where my currency impacts other players when it fucking doesn't. Someone who had 100k legendary shards had 0 impact to someone who is struggling to find any. Let's not act like Bungie doesn't have control over this supposed economy where they could have easily added more sources for legendary shards to help newer players, let alone give new players a starter pack of these legendary shards to help them get started. I mean, they were quick to try to sell an exotic starter kit to new players, but I guess giving out free currency is asking too much from Bungie. Unstable shards are a worse version of legendary shards. Not only does infusing your gear become more expensive as you progress forward with your power progression, but anything that you do farm disappears. That's right. It all resets with a new season. More bullshit for you to farm, but then it all goes away. See, Bungie didn't remove legendary shards because it was unfair to new players. They removed them because they didn't like the fact that dedicated players were not wasting their time enough because they already had a large stack of legendary shards. So Bungie wanted to remove that, and now we have unstable cores where everyone has to farm them up, and it doesn't matter how much veterans get because every season they'll be forced to regrind it over and over and over and over again, putting the hamster back in the wheel. Now, moving on to Conquest. Nightfalls have been retired, and along with them, so are Grandmaster Nightfalls. Now we have Conquest, which overall, I do like the challenge level and how they ramp up, but I do not like that they are using this stupid avant-garde, or whatever the fuck that modifier is called, that forces you to either use new gear or featured gear. It's very restrictive. Using new gear is not a challenge. It's just fucking annoying. Now, I do think you can use new stuff and be fine, but the point of the challenge is to push you and your build to the next level. But this limits your build crafting and makes it to where you may not play what you want to play. We'll talk more about feature stuff, gear in the future. But overall, Conquest are a step back in that regard. Also at launch, Conquests were not repeatable, but Bungie has announced that they're going to allow Conquest to be farmable, but not with any of the good loot. You'll get basic ass loot, which makes no fucking sense because you can choose the same activities and do them at Grandmaster with easier modifiers and get the same loot. The whole point for people to farm Conquest is to get that tier 5 loot. Now, you can get tier 5 at 450 in the future with that future update, but no one ain't give a shit. The whole point of farming Grandmasters was to gain access to good loot and get materials, which Conquest only give the first time around.
First, allow me to destroy your gallery. Bullshit. Bullshit. Derivative. That I love. I absolutely.
It is time. we are finally diving into the portal itself. That's right, we're portal hopping now. Listen, even the portal itself is essentially menu gameplay that is murdering the soul of what makes an MMO an actual MMO. Imagine Diablo or Final Fantasy 14 and there's nothing but menus instead of an actual world to explore. Yikes. But it does have to have its perks. It does. The portal has its perks, right? I do like the process of quick access to whatever activity I want to play. No longer having to hover over a planet to then get access to said activity. I want to run a strike. Boom, there it is. And I get to specifically choose which strike I want to play versus the RNG of getting what I want with matchmaking. Though the portal still offers that experience with match-made activities. Both the World tab and the Portal tab have their pros and their cons. I see using both, but unfortunately only the Portal is of current value because Bungie refuses to upscale other content, even content that isn't even a year old, like Sunder Doctrine is already abandoned. Now, sure, Bungie has mentioned adding dungeon layers, which we know the leaks are correct, that dungeon layers are now one encounter from the dungeon. That's right, 3 dungeons, 1 encounter. 1. Are you fucking serious? What are we doing? Not only do you fuck over people who paid for this content because now they'll never enjoy the content in its fullest, but now people who make the mistake of buying it will be pissed off to find out that Bungie is not planning to do anything outside of that 1 encounter. Go fuck yourself, Bungie. Fuck the leaders. Fuck every developer of Bungie who silently works on this and refuses to take a stand, because I know fucking for sure that there isn't a developer who hasn't spent years hearing from the community, especially about vaulting of content. That just abandoned content is going to end very fucking poorly. Listen, did Destiny 1 do the same thing? Sure, but it was also console only. And we are in a different era, a different game. Who gives a fuck that Destiny 1 made older content pointless? Bitch, we live in 2025. Make sure that shit we paid for is still fucking relevant, or make it fucking free. But let's roll things back. The idea of the portal is great, but the implementation is a fucking failure. And should be a massive red flag for updates like this in the future, where they should make sure it's fully cooked before half-assing it just to get out the door. The idea of velocity over quality is starting to bite Bungie in the ass. Now, it ain't just Justin Truman saying it. It's a fucking reality. That velocity is more important than quality. That the position of the state of your game can be fixed later is actually outdated. You see, we've revised our studio mentality on velocity. So instead of rapidly releasing new content and fixing it later, our mentality now is just ship it. Our community will fix it later. Why waste time on improving when you can have free beta testers do it for you? You think Bungie would have learned from the mass vaulting of pre-Shadowkeep content and the massive backlash Beyond Light received for not replacing significant activities in exchange for the loss of what we already had? But no, they didn't. They fucking soft sunsetted 90% of the game and gave you like 30-ish activities to do. 30, sure. They added Season of the Witch activities. Woo! Isn't that exciting, guys? We made 90% of the game fucking pointless, and we brought back old seasonal shit that should have never been removed anyways because you fucking paid for it. But hey, guys, new content, but it's not really new. It's all just old shit, but we're gonna make it you think it's new. Woo! W's for Bungie for the massive innovation of bringing back old fucking content. Woo! Oh, and you can't forget they spent a week to bring back Onslaught, even though it was already in the game before the update. So they removed Onslaught for a week and then brought it back to say, hey guys, new content in the portal. Isn't that great? Either Bungie thinks the Destiny 2 community is the most retarded players in the world, or Destiny 2 players are the most retarded players in the world.
You serious?
And they eat this shit up as a fucking win. The bar could have not been set fucking lower. Now, one of the biggest additions with portals is the ability to modify each activity, which is a W. The fact that you have the ability to choose the difficulty, add modifiers and banes, and even boons is an amazing concept. If only the implementation wasn't so fucking restrictive. There's a lot of modifiers and ways to customize activities. The problem is that Bungie power gates them. That's right, you do not have access to the full suite of options until you hit the ultimate mode, which is fucking stupid. Why? If I'm playing expert, let me use the famine modifier. If I'm doing master content, let me play with some awesome end game boons to make it fun. It's such a horrible experience to only be able to have access to certain modifiers at certain levels. Like, why? Why is it worse if you add things like surges and modifiers or boons and you have to hope that the activity weekly / rotation has that element that you want? That's right, for some fucking reason, some modifications are on a rotator, which is stupid as fuck. Why is it so hard to just let your players play how they fucking want to play the game? Talked about our Bungie motto. We make games we want to play. Well, part of our evolution of the studio begins with that motto. You see, so instead of we make games we want to play, our new studio motto is we make games. Hell, Bungie even nerfed grapple boon twice. It's funny that they showcased this modifier on their dev stream being used in the same fucking way everyone else was using it day one on release, but because people were actually using it to speed through content to circumvent a horrible game decision, Bungie, oh no, we can't let you do that. We can't allow you to play the game how you want to play, even though that's how they fucking advertise the portal to be. The whole fucking point of the portal is to play how you want to play, but if you go too fast, Bungie says, fuck you, this is my game, you play how I want you to play, and you will like it. Bungie not only nerfed grapple abilities to keep, from chaining, but they also made it, if you do choose to use these modifiers, it hurts your score by ×4. Which is one of the worst decreases in the portal. It's insane how blatant Bungie has shown they do not care about the community. They only care about metrics and making fucking money. Fuck your fun, give me money. Oh, and as an update, as I'm writing this script, Bungie removed the grapple mod again, but this time because people didn't like the grapple mod in match-made content. But instead of just removing from those activities, which is planned at first, then they made the announcement that they were removing the grapple mod from every portal activity until they made a fix. You can't make this shit up. What is worse is that if you wanted to challenge yourself, if you are tired of sneezing through the portal and you decide you want to max out the difficulty by adding a bunch of hard modifiers, if you put too many, it becomes impossible and you can't even play the activity. Why? Why does adding a shit ton of modifiers make it fucking harder via power leveling and not in the functionality of it, in which it impacts the activity itself? You literally cannot challenge yourself too much or it becomes impossible. Players want the options that they want. If I want the activity to kick my ass, let me kick my ass. But no, you are limited by what you can actually do, which is fucking stupid. Like, it makes no sense.
This thing will literally wipe your ass. Absolutely free. Hell, you don't even need to buy a Ferrari. Just come on down. It's absolutely free. All the what we can do for our customers. That's right. A great experience. Absolutely 100% free. Now you're wondering, what about the car? What about the Ferrari? Don't worry about that. It's a Ferrari. Trust Pete. He has plenty of them.
Now let's talk about it. That's right, everyone's favorite topic that you've seen since the launch of Edge of Fate and update 9.0.01, power progression. Let's talk about it. I think I speak for most of the community, minus the mentally ill individuals who think this is a good grind and that the power progression changes are fucking cancer. They're fucking cancer. No wonder the player population has died off quicker than the launch of Destiny 2. From 10 to 200, you can buy the new Edge of Fate DLC and quickly level up to 200, or you can get a jump start on the experience that everyone, and I mean everyone, will be doing for the foreseeable future. Because even as I'm writing this script, Bungie has done fuck all to this asinine system. Sure, they've buffed a couple options, but really they're not listening. From 10 to 400, you will get power drops from instances in the world, specifically the portal, because after you hit the regular level cap of 200, you will begin your magical seasonal journey that will reset after 6 months. But wait! You'll have 3 months to work up to 450 and then 3 more months to work to 550 before you go to 200. So technically, you have 3 months to farm tier 5 loot in the game before Bungie says, fuck your time and effort. You gotta go back into the mines like the children in foreign countries. Oh, and in order to get the highest possible drops, you need to meet those thresholds for the score multipliers, which is tied to the featured gear system, which is even fucking stupider than how it used to be. That's right, the higher tier gear you own, from if you got tier 5, you have the highest score multiplier, which will mean you'll have the better chance of getting an A score so you can get the best drops. Who thought this was a good idea? Oh, and exotics are part of that, right? You need to use the feature exotics or you'll be handicapping yourself and your score. But don't worry, you can spend money on the rewards pass to get that juicy 15% score boost to make the difference. Isn't that convenient? Thanks, Bungie. Oh, but it gets worse. So fucking worse. From 200 to 300, power drops at +4. But when you hit 300, the power drops at +3. Why? What makes the situation even more exacerbated is the fact that the most rewarding activity we have is an exotic mission that drops 3 power drops. You spent thousands and thousands of hours grinding a number that has no fucking point. And when I mean no fucking point, I mean no fucking point, especially when the activities that supposedly matter are capped at a delta. That's right, you are fucking capped at a delta, so it doesn't fucking matter if you are at 450 or 100. You're still capped. What is the fucking point of power progression if you're going to make activities like the new raid feats delta capped? Why? Oh, but at least you can play portal activities and over level, right? Sure. That's cool and fun, even though you have content creators bitching about grandmasters being too easy with over leveling, even though they have the ability to add modifiers to make it harder. But of course, it's too fucking easy, and we need to make sure that the only activities where power actually, lets you do something, we got to make sure it's nerfed and everyone's experience is fucking dog shit, because little Timmy doesn't like that power people are doing more damage and not -100 below level. Learn to add fucking modifiers, you dumb fuck. So power progression is the main issue people have, but it gets worse. It gets worse. Once you hit 400, or in the future 500, the next 50 levels no longer drop normal drops. That's right, it's completely random. You have to win the lottery. Unlike playing other MMOs where any drop can be good, Bungie decided let's make all drops pointless after a certain power point. That's right, this is the worst power progression we've had. Worse than Forsaken. Hell, even worse than Destiny 1 and the Forever 29, because at least in that situation, you could earn power doing the raid, even though it's capped per week. At least you knew you're getting a power drop. But with the portal, it's random. You could spend hours and hours hoping for a drop. Who designed this shit? Who thought this was fun? Sure, I know in the future, the Ash and Iron, they're gonna let drops be a +1. Ooh, we're really moving the needle there. +1, oh my God. Oh man, that's really gonna change a lot. +1. Man, we're really breaking the bank out here, aren't we? No one fucking enjoys this. No one fucking enjoys this. Only streamers who can milk the shit out of this like it. Or people who are terminally online like the shit.
Yes, sir. I will also make sure that we make a new TWAB, making an apology to gaslight the community and make them come back. I'll get on it right away, sir. Yes, sir. No, I don't want to see your car, sir. Thank you. What the hell now? What is going on? Oh, God, not you.
It's great. It's me. It's Bunny's biggest supporter.
Sometimes I wish you weren't.
Sir, I would just like to say that I've been doing my due diligence by finding the vile comment section on YouTube videos, on Reddit, and on Twitter. I've been telling everyone who's doom and glooming about the player population and how the game's so dead. I just been telling you to go play another game, like, just leave. No one wants you here. So that's what I've been telling them, sir. I've been doing justice for Bungie.
Are you out of your mind?
Yes, sir. I've been making sure to tell everyone who's not loyal to Bungie to fuck off.
Loyal? Because of you? I'm on thin ice because of you. If Skeletor makes another damn video, it's my ass Pete's gonna come after. And I don't want to see his car collection because we all know what happens after he shows you the cars. You can't even fondle my Bungie balls the correct way. If you're gonna suck, at least give me the Christopher Barrett treatment. Now, if you excuse me, I've got a TWAB to write to gaslight community.
There's a reason why many people are leaving and not coming back. It's crazy. If I wanted to farm something I didn't enjoy, I'd rather go work on an actual fucking farm. Oh, hey, come on in. Come on down. All right, take a seat right there. I was just reviewing your paperwork. So you're here for the position for Bungie. So your name's Mr. Sam McGee. Mr. McGee, you do realize that we work on video games, right? I noticed that on your paperwork, it said your job description was redneck. That's right. Sam McGee's the name. The greatest redneck that ever lived. I tell you what, brother. And this little fella here is my special hunting duck skunk. That's right, Skunk the hunting duck. You gotta watch out for this little guy. Whenever he gets on a target, he goes right after it. That's right. If you ever make him mad to go right for your peckerwood, he'll bite that thing clear and dang off. I'll tell you what right now. Well, that's great. We don't have animals unless they're a support animal. Is that a support animal? Okay, well, just check in with the office and we'll get you squared away next time. And I've never seen a support duck, but hey, you know, we're very inclusive here at Bungie. That includes ducks, so we're gonna let the ducks stay. Anyway, so going through your paperwork, sir, the most that you've done is work on a farm, and I'm a little confused. Why do you want to work at Bungie? Why do you want to work on games like Destiny? What are you going to bring to the table? Well, see here, I was out and about playing them here video games, and all I could hear about people in the party were talking about Bungie's trying to make the game worse because everyone's trying to farm. And I'm sitting here like, son, you don't know what it's like to be on a real farm. See, where me and Skunk come from, we spend hours and hours doing the same shit over and over and over again. We're out there doing the same thing constantly for minimal gains. Out in the country, it's all about the grind. And I think, Mr. Sam McGee, if this is what you guys are doing, the Sam McGee who actually works out on the farm, out in the countryside, hell, I could do your job better than you. I'll make this the most grindest game that ever done lived. I'll make people dream about farms in their sleep. That's what I tell you what, isn't that right, Skunk? Hell yeah, brother. We're gonna grind and farm all night long. I tell you what. Oh, sir, I don't even look at the paperwork. Here, congratulations. Welcome to Bungie, where we're gonna make everyone's life harder than hell. You're hired, you son of a bitch. What is worse is that Bungie likes to sell Destiny as a social game. Social. Which I know Bungie is making some changes to Fireteam Ops, but this update, which was intended to make Destiny 2 like Destiny 3, bring back players, and is supposed to be a social game. Yet they made a game so poorly rewarding that everyone would rather farm solo ops and never play with another human being. And the one time people did want to play with other people, Bungie outright nerfs it or removes it from the game. Looking at you, Encore. It's crazy how we went from people barely playing raids and dungeons to no one doing anything at all besides playing 2 solo missions. You turn on Destiny 2 Twitch directory and everyone was doing the same shit alone. It's almost ironic that Bungie changed their motto and they don't even honor their own motto with their shitty decisions for the game. What is worse is not only is the game just playing 2 missions for power progression, we don't even have proper seasons anymore. When Bungie said that seasons were going to be free, I did not expect massive amount of content. I didn't expect that. I'll be honest. I did not expect that. My expectations were low. However, I did not expect that seasons would just be removed and we'd get jack shit. Period. Bungie removed all seasonal activities for free events, which, let's be honest, Solstice and Heavy Metal aren't new, and we had them already. Sure, you can say Arms Day is new, but the common problem so far with events in Destiny right now is that they don't have any actual activities. They're just generic Crucible modes, and you guessed it, playing more of the Portal. Though events like Solstice made farming bearable by actually making it rewarding, the fact that you could be 400 and get tier 5 gear and you didn't need to bang your head against the wall to get 450 to get a chance at these tier 5s was a lifesaver. And it showed that, and it showcased that the power farm could be rewarding if Bungie actually chose to make it that way. But instead, Destiny is the most unrewarding it has ever been, even with events. Sure, we'll get a mid-season update this week to get a brand new activity, but is that enough to justify the removal of 4 seasons in a year? I mean, this is the same drought we had in Destiny 1. It's just being masked with free events we already had. Or we have empty new ones, just like Arms Day, that have no actual activity. It's just they're bringing updated weapons into the loophole. Now, I did want to mention the new player experience. Bungie did all these changes and tried to say that this was paving the way for the new player experience to be improved, but it didn't improve it at all. In fact, it just made things even more confusing. It also made it even easier for new players to dip and leave, especially after realizing the activities that matter or the portal, and they have 30 things to do, and once they realize that, they leave. Why buy content that is soft sunsetted? Why spend money on shit that doesn't matter? If Bungie was going to do so little improvement to the new player experience and screw over veterans, they might as well just made the entire Light and Darkness story saga free. Make the whole damn game free. Why do we have barely year-old dungeon content still paid, by the way, yet they don't fucking matter? That, ladies and gentlemen, is what we call a scam. It's a fucking scam. But don't worry, Bungie's listening. Bungie's listening to us, right? They hear us. I can see DMG tweeting. We're listening. Isn't that funny? Bread. It's crazy that we've had multiple TWIDs and they have all increasingly gotten worse and worse on how Bungie plans to resolve these problems. In fact, we had one of the most hated TWIDs from Bungie, probably in the history of Destiny. So much that Bungie almost walked back every advertised change they planned to do. Instead of making things better, they were going to nerf the only good options, so the game would have to be made entirely worse. It's crazy that Bungie had done everything to avoid listening to the community, and they triple down on this shitty power progression, refusing to improve the game. In fact, one of the changes that they were going to make was have you fly all the way back to the tower to get your pinnacle engram. That's right. And Bungie tried to do nostalgia, guys. It's just like Destiny 1, guys. You have to go back to Raul and claim your engram. Isn't that cool? And it's very obvious that the person who wrote this note had no fucking idea what Destiny was or had ever played the game, because if you realize that just last episode Revenant, you know, the seasonal thing that we had before update 9.0, just like a month ago, had engrams that we would have to go to Raul to unlock. They're called prime engrams. You know, that thing, prime? Yeah, we already did that. So what why is Bungie claiming this is it's just like Destiny 1, even though it's not a new feature? We had it and people didn't like it. So why are we? I guess Bungie really thinks the Destiny community is fucking stupid or has memory loss. They would really rather go down with the ship than take the knee and make a game that people and players actually want. They would rather shit away any good reputation, any good grace. They would rather go down the toilet. This is how you murder your game. It's crazy. Let's take the time to talk about Destiny Rising. It's crazy that a mobile game not only takes immediate action to feedback from the community, but they give everything on Destiny players' wish list and put it in the game. So many interesting activities, quality of life changes that people have hoped for in Destiny 2. Hell, even the UI is better, as you can clearly see all the buffs and modifiers. Even the timers are on the screen, something Bungie has struggled to achieve for years. It is insane that even their most recent update gave a plethora of changes that benefited new players, making certain things easier, buffing certain things. Hell, even when they had maintenance, they gave rewards for their down maintenance. When's the last time Bungie gave us shit for the 5 hours that the game was down because they broke it? Let's talk about bugs. You love bugs? We know Bungie loves bugs. There's more bugs in this game than there is in Weevil Underwood's deck in Yu-Gi-Oh! Oh, you fell for this trap card. That's right, Bungie. We talked about some of the bugs, like stats not working and the fact that movement was bugged. But let's be clear. Update 9.0 broke a mile-long list of things. In fact, the list was so long, this might be a historical record for the most buggiest update we've ever had. In fact, I don't even think the crafting is nearly as buggy as update 9.0.0.1. And even now, people are still finding more bugs. Why is it that players are the beta testers? If you're going to force players to fix your shitty ass game, then give every damn person a pocket of silver to spend on cosmetics instead of bribing and paying as many content shills and Bungie content creators to glaze the shit out of your game. And if you don't think Bungie pays content creators to do so, don't forget that paying out money isn't the only way to get paid. Getting raids, getting viewership promotions, bits on Twitch, and subscriptions from Bungie is being paid by Bungie. I'm not about to get gaslighted by Bungie shill squads who are desperately wanting to paint the community as being overly negative, as if it's not fair criticism, when literally aspects of the game are unplayable. That's an issue. The entire year has gotten worse and worse. Bungie is all about velocity, but the quality has gone right out the door. You know what's also gone right out the door? The fucking Dreadnought. But guys, even if the game isn't playable and broken, at least you can take your time in the shopping mall in the Eververse, right? Right? Bungie has increased microtransactions even more. We are getting more transmog sets, more bullshit. It won't be long before they try selling exotics again. Oh, but wait, What's worse is that you can't even buy microtransactions without breaking your fucking game. That's right. Not one, but two different times it has happened where two different sets were introduced by Bungie, new ornament sets that caused some kind of issue from being invisible to outright crashing games. Oh, that's right. Poor console players have to be shit on nonstop. If you didn't buy Edge of Fate, you probably faced a lot of bugs and crashes because Bungie's development team is run by a bunch of hamsters or AI. It was one or the other. Hell, even during dead weeks where there's no event or anything going on, Bungie introduced weird surge modifiers each week, like increased special damage, heavy damage, surges, or this past week or so, bonus focus loop modifier, which wasn't even working. So Bungie removed that and replaced it with score accelerator modifier, but then they tweeted that it wasn't working, so they removed that one too. Are they capable? Who's working on this game? Are there any capable developers left at Bungie? Have they all been replaced by AI? Now, here's the last most painful realization for our community, that over delivery is dangerous. We talked about this last time we were here, that you should beware of over delivery. You are setting patterns and setting undeliverable expectations. Giving players what they ask is very dangerous. You're setting a pattern. Giving players a good game, again, you're creating patterns. Improving from the failures of previous content like seasons or episodes, or even worse. Don't worry, those beta testers will fix it for you. Creating games that function correctly as a bare minimum, you're over delivering. Our viewpoint on the matter has actually evolved here at Bungie. So instead of being aware of that over delivering the patterns you're setting, instead, always expect under delivery. Surprise them when it actually works. Now, there's been a lot of questions about our player population and why Bungie is even talking to developers at this rate, and especially at this gaming conference. In the first place, well, we're here to provide aspects of how you can survive as a game developer. You're not thriving, but at least you're surviving. Bungie wants you to buy their shit, buy their overpriced expansions, buy their MTX bullshit, yet they can't even run the game correctly. They can't develop Destiny correctly. Hell, they can't even make their own MTX correctly. If people think Pete Parsons was the problem, you are wrong. If I was Sony, I would mass fire developers and leaders alike, clean out the dumpster fire, put the right people in position to fix the game. This is how you kill a franchise. Murder it, burn it. Bungie every day finds a new way to kill its reputation even more and make people walk away from Destiny. It's a shame. The Portal has potential. Armor 3.0 has potential. Tiers have potential. Perk sets have potential. Damn, this whole game has potential, but it's being wasted on the wrong fucking studio. Sony, I beg you, create a strike team from different studios to help salvage this Titanic. Please. This franchise has so much potential. Hell, I think Destiny Rising is a clear indication that people want to invest in Destiny. People want to like it, but Destiny 2 ain't it. Bungie sure hell ain't it. And with that, ladies and gentlemen, this has been my brutally honest review for update 9.0.0.1, whatever I submit extra, zeros, but you know what I mean. It's 9.0 update. That it's ass. It's bad. This was a train wreck, which is funny because so was Edge of Fate. But here we are, two train wrecks crashing into one. Man, it hurts my soul. It hurts. It has never been harder to be a fan of Destiny. In fact, the longer this goes, the more people make fun of Destiny players because it's being more apparent that we have some kind of mental disorder for enjoying this franchise, even though Destiny Rising is actually good and you don't have to spend money on that to enjoy it. Praise up. Anyways, I'm Mr. Gaming Counselor. Hit the like button, comment down below, and subscribe to the channel for more. As always, I'm done. I'm done with the mines. I'm done. I'm done. I'm not doing it. No. Fuck you. I'm not doing the 450 grind. I'm not doing the 550 grind. You can suck my left testicle. I'm done. Suck it. I'm done. Peace.